everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Captain Crush. Normally I discuss NBA, MLB and whatever, but this video is a special video. Normally you'd see my little face down in the right hand corner going over everything, but it's late at night, I'm exhausted. Didn't feel like setting up the camera, but just wanted to get this out for you guys. This is covering the Masters. Round 1 was yesterday, round 2 is today. After they finished round 1, the remaining, because they ran out of daylight because of a weather delay, and then we have round 3 and 4 for those that make the cut. So what this video is going to do is going to explain what and how to look for when you're doing these bets on PrizePicks or whatever sports book it is where you're taking these props, and I'm going to cover some DraftKings. So here I am on PrizePicks, and as you can see, they have all these props. First things, I gotta make this as basic as I can because some people have no idea what golf is. So strokes, basically in golf, you want to have low strokes. Higher means you did bad, lower means you did good. This particular course is a par 72, so that means anything at 72, you're betting on them to either be at par, over par, or under par, okay? So let's just say I take Victor Hovland at 72 strokes. I'm betting on him to go under par. If he hits 72, obviously it's a push. If he's +1, he would be 73. There's eagle, birdie, par, bogey, double bogey, and so forth, okay? If you hit what is called a par, let's just say every hole has, there's 18 holes and every hole has a number, a 4, 5, or 3, okay? Par 3, par 4, par 5. If it's a par 4, that means you have 4 strokes or 4 attempts to get it in the cup, okay? No pause required, but you have 4 shots to get it in the hole. You understand what I'm saying? So that would be, if you get it in 4 shots, that would be par. If you get it in 3, birdie. 2, eagle. 1, albatross, hole in 1. If you got it above 4, 5 would be bogey, 6 would be double bogey, and so forth. +3, +4, +5, okay? So keep that in mind. And by the way, if you're new to this channel and you already know all this stuff and you just want to get to the nitty gritty, then skip all this and go to the end. You're not going to be learning anything you don't already know, okay? I'm just giving the fundamentals for people that usually watch my channel. They're NBA guys, they're MLB guys, they're NFL guys. They don't play golf, they don't bet golf, but summer's coming and they need to get in the mix. So that's strokes. Birdies are better, obviously, like I just said. How many birdies are they going to get? 2, 3, 4, 3, 3.5? You would need 4 to cash, okay? Birdies are a better matchup. People get this confused all the time. They see the zeros. I remember when I was new to golf and saw these zeros, I was like, is this a free square? Just thinking like, of course it's not a free square. So basically, golfers go out in pairs. There's 3 of them, usually 3 to a group. So they basically, so Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy, or Tiger and Phil Mickelson, okay? These two are going to be in a group tomorrow for round 2. We're not talking about round 1, but they're going to be in a group and whatever. Sometimes they're not paired with people that are in the same group. Sometimes it's random, but most of the time it's in the same group. So basically, if you bet less on Tiger here, that means you're betting for him to get less birdies than his Phil Mickelson, who he will be in his group. If you bet more, that means that you're betting on Tiger to get more birdies than Phil, and that is how that works. Birdie or better matchup, okay? Now here's the rub of everything with PrizePicks. Well, before I do that, let me talk about greens and regulation. This means how many times they're going to get the ball onto the green in regulation. It's self-explanatory, right? Well, if you're on a par 4 and you get it on the green in 2, that means you got a green in regulation, because anytime you're putting for birdie, that is a green in regulation, okay? Just think of it like that. That's the easiest way to think of it. Fairways hit, it's how many times when you're teeing off anything but a par 3, how many times you're getting the ball in the fairway. So all the par 4s and all the par 5s. Pars are better. This is how many pars are better they're going to get, meaning if they get bogeys, let's just say they get 4 or 5 bogeys, they're not going to get 15 pars, are they? So this is basically underdog's version of 2.5 or 3 bogeys. You're betting on that, okay? And then hole 2 shots, this is a live bet. This is basically the par 5. They do this for live betting. It's basically you can bet over or under on a live bet how they're going to do. These are the hardest things to get right. It's literally just a crapshoot how they're going to do on one particular hole. Now the upside is that when you're playing golf and when we look at these and when I show you what to look for, you'll be able to see and look at how the course is playing and then maybe make a decision based on that, maybe see how everyone else has been doing it. But the fact of the matter is this, fella, hole 2, you won't even really know because there's only one hole before that, and you won't really have enough data on how it's playing unless you're looking at guys coming in the late wave. Okay, now this is what makes betting golf on PrizePicks so difficult, because check this out. if you just take all mores there and go to power it, whoa, what's that? It's not 5x, it's 4.7x, but wait, there's more. Let's just say you went down the lot and you took a 6-man. Look at that. You're only getting paid 13x. Well, Cap, it's supposed to be 25x. Well, this is how they pay out golf. They want you to do mix and match. They don't want you to correlate the course. So if you did 3 unders and 2 overs on birdies or better, then you would get your 25x. Don't ask me why they still get away with this in 2024, but this is just the way it is. So with that in mind, I don't recommend taking 6-leg props in golf. You're supposed to only take 1 to 2 to 3 max, mix them in with other sports or whatever have you, unless you have like 3 overs and 3 unders or 2 overs and 3 unders you want to do, and you can get that crispy 10x or whatever have you. Okay, so now that the painstaking basics are out of the way, those are for the new first comers. They'd never picked up a club in their life, they don't know anything. That's for you guys. That is the gist of the basics of what we're even doing here, because in my Discord I get asked every day, Cap, is this still live? Golf is an all-day affair, fellas. So now this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to a site called DataGolf.com. It's 2024. It's free of charge, fella. No excuses. Yes, they have a paywall for certain things, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of the ABC, you don't need it. So I am going to break this down on what to look for. How do you know who to bet on for over 2.5 or 3 birdies? Well, round 1, you don't really know anything. You just kind of are going by the pin locations, the weather, the tee times, and then the golfer, his strengths. How does the course play to his strengths, which I will get into all that. But in golf, there are 4 parts of the game. There's putting, you're around the green, your approach, and you're off the tee. Okay, those 4 things. If you are good at 2 of those things, you will literally be a great golfer. And I'm talking about if you're good, I should have said if you're excellent, then you have a chance to be like a pro golfer. Honestly, if you can excel at 2 of the 4, you're mint in life in this game, okay? I'm terrible at all 4, but I love to play the game. Now, so once you're on DataGolf, what you would want to do is click interactives. You'd want to go to tournament stats, and then since this is the Masters, bang, you would click that, and this gives us all the historical data of round 1, the guys that already played. Now, as you can see, Bryson's in first place. He played God mode, but what do we see? We see that he putted. So now everything that these guys do in these majors and most of the tournaments nowadays are tracked via Shot Tracker. And this site and others, plenty of others, but this is my favorite one. They literally keep track of the true strokes gained. That is what it is called, okay? So it lets you know in analytics, because remember, every sport is run by analytics now. We're in 2024, fella, just in case you didn't know. And golf is no different, okay? So here you can see putting around the green, approach, and off the tee. Now, I know this may be confusing to you that don't have any idea what this is, but bear with me. So putting, that means how good is he doing putting? It looks like he gained 3.5 strokes putting, which means that he did very well putting today, okay? Anything over 1 is crazy. 3.5, that's how you get around like -7. That's why he's in top of the leaderboard. I think he had like, what, 7 birdies today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 birdies. Whenever you see this circle, that's a birdie. Whenever you see this box, it's a bogey. 2 boxes is a double bogey. 2 circles is an eagle. And the random number there is just, I should say the regular number there is just a par. Okay, so he played absolutely well. So now we can go back. Let's just say you didn't watch any of the tournament because you're poverty, and you go back and you're like, why did he do so well? Well, now you know. He hit his putts, and I watched it, by the way. He hit all of his putts. He couldn't miss, and here it is. This is the analytics of it telling you what the eye didn't see. This is the number telling you what happened. His approach, which is basically, so you're in the tee box, you hit it out the tee, you hit a nice fairway, bang, it's right in the middle of the fairway, and then you hit it again. That's called your approach. Your second shot, fairway to green, getting around there, that's going to be your approach. So he gained 1.8 strokes on approach. Pretty good too. And then off the tee, which is what I just said, being on the tee, that's 1.9 he gained there. And his around the green, which is his short game, like his chipping, his outside of 50 yards to the green, he only gained half a stroke. But as you can see, he crushed it across the board. His overall 8 strokes gained, his tee to green 4, and the most important thing to look at here is these two. Off the tee and approach. This is what you can look at. This is what's going to signal how someone is going to play the next round of golf, okay? These are very important. And as you can see, the putting is the most volatile stat of all because it just is. Anyone that's ever putt the ball knows that. Now look at the GOAT, Scotty Scheffler. Around the green, 3 strokes. Approach, 3 strokes. Off the tee, 1.3. But his putting, he only had half a stroke gained pretty much. If he had this, he would have been light years ahead of him if he had 3 strokes gained putting. Everybody knows Scheffler's not that great of a putter, okay? Everybody knows that. That's not his strong suit. But look at everything else, man. The guy is just a GOAT, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it all for that matter, okay? But again, we're looking at this for round 1. Now, what's good about golf is there's 4 rounds. So the first 2 rounds, everyone's competing for something which is called the cut. The cut is going to be set based on the average scores, okay? So on this hole, on this course, on this tournament, it's probably going to be, let me look. Okay, so the cut line right now is literally right around +3 or +2, 32% chance of +2 or +3. After tomorrow, it might be around, so +3, +2, +1, something like that. But basically means after round 2, if you finish your scores within +1 or +2, you will advance to round 3. Everybody who doesn't have at least whatever the cut line is, which is, as you can see, it's a 32% chance of it being +2. That means they don't make it. They're going home. Their tournament's over. See ya. It's also called not making the cut. So whenever you hear me or anyone else say he made the cut or didn't make the cut, that means they advanced to round 3 or 4, or they didn't and they're done after rounds 1 and 2. So let's go back to the true strokes gained, okay? So we have all the golfers here that have finished through round 1. There's golfers that are still on the course that are going to be playing tomorrow morning because of rain delay, and then they will start round 2. It's absolutely crazy, but this is how it works when there's rain delays. But, so the question becomes, Cap, what do we look for? What do we even look in here? I don't even know what to look for. Well, you want to know these golfers, which none of you mostly do if you're new to all this. You're not going to know these golfers or who they are, what their strengths are, which I will get into that. But you want to see something like, let's just say Tony Finau was a phenomenal putter, but he just didn't get it going. He lost strokes putting, but look at his approach. +3, his off the tee was good, so we could see those 2 things. We know that his around the green was weak, his putting was weak. Maybe he turns it around tomorrow. So seeing somebody like this means that you would want to possibly target him because you might get a deflated line, okay? Same thing with Cant, -2 putting. Again, putting is the most volatile stat, but look at this. The approach was +3, off the tee 0.14. Ideally, let me find the perfect candidate. You hate to go down here and see Fred Couples, the crafty veteran, just get slaughtered by Father Time. +8, but you know what? At least he's out there making it happen. Good old Hideki Matsuyama, baby. Hideki. Look at him. Look how terrible he played. He played absolutely terrible. +4, -3 strokes putting, +4, -4. All of this is terrible. This would be someone that I would be targeting for round 2 showdown in DraftKings 100%. Nobody's going to want to play him. That's a fish. What's a fish? Your casual player. They're going to see this. They're going to be, he played terrible. So their recency bias brain is going to want to go all the way up here and just assume that Bryson's going to come out tomorrow and do this again, which I'm telling you right now, 90% chance he ain't coming out tomorrow and doing these numbers again, kid. These are phenomenal numbers. Same thing with Scotty. Well, Scotty, he could actually do it again because of how good he is, but it's very rare to go back out there and have another day of amazing golf. Yes, it can happen. Anything can happen. They're human beings. We can't predict it like that, but I'm just telling you, it's not likely, okay? And you see guys like Victor Hovland, Rory, Fitz, you can see how they were playing. You can see who is where they should be and who where there isn't where they should be. Now look at Jon Rahm, the defending champ, baby. He literally was 1.5 strokes minus off the tee, which means that he did terrible off the tee, and he did. I watched it. But normally, he's a goat off the tee. So you know that he's probably going to turn this around. So then you would look at his other things and you would see, okay, it looks pretty good, looks pretty decent. So I want you to hold this thought, okay? Keep all this in mind because this is for DraftKings purposes, but it's also for PrizePicks. So let's go back over to PrizePicks now that you got your beak wet. So you know Scotty did very good yesterday. So you're going to take this. Well, there's a couple other things that we need to talk about. Now, as you can see, it shows their tee times. There's so many people here that have early tee times that First of all, if you tee off in the late afternoon, you're going to tee off in the morning the next day and vice versa. It's always easier to play golf in the morning because the softer the greens are, the more the ball sticks in the ground and it doesn't roll, and the sun hasn't been baking on it, making it to where there's a lot of bounce. The ball just rolls forever. You have to think about those things in golf, okay? So you want to target guys that are playing in early rounds for the most part when you can, but also you have to factor in the weather. The weather today was 45-mile-an-hour gusts and 25 to 30 mile an hour sustained winds, okay? So that is critical. Golf is played outside, and it's a little white ball that flies in the air, and wind plays a critical role in all of it. It's just how it is. So that's another thing you need to be looking at, the weather. So if you see the weather's going to be good during the day, you'd want to attack the early wave. If you see it's going to be good in the afternoon, you'd want to attack the afternoon. It just depends. Now, I mentioned Hideki. He's going off in the late wave. Now, he's at 3.5 birdies or better. People are going to see this and make a decision why this is the worst thing you could do. I tell you guys, it's the worst thing you could do in any sport, but specifically golf. The last 5 means next to nothing. I promise you, it does not matter one iota about the last 5. I'm telling you, I promise you. So you see Hideki's at 3.5 birdies. We go back here. We see Hideki at minus 377 for putting on all this other stuff. But keep in mind, the cut line's going to be 2 or 3. So what's that mean? He's going to be firing at flags because he's going to want to try to make the cut, which means you'd stay away from his strokes because he's probably likely to get more bogeys because he's going to be taking more chances. But it also means that he might be getting more birdies because he's going to be taking more chances, okay? So we go back here, and you could take a shot on 3.5 birdies for old Hideki. Doesn't mean he's going to get it. It doesn't mean anything. There's way more to it involved. I'm just saying, odds are he's not going to be putting minus 3 strokes again. Now, granted, he's a terrible putter too. Don't get me wrong, but he's not this bad. Okay, this is Captain Crush bad. The other side of the coin is maybe he just says, screw it, I have no chance, and he's going to phone it in. But being that this is the Masters, I don't think that's on the table. He's probably going to be trying as hard as he can. So another thing you could do is you could go to the birdies or better matchup, see if we can find where Hideki's playing, if they have one up for him. And unfortunately, they don't. At least they don't have it right now. I can't see it. But let's just say Dustin Johnson was going against Hideki, okay? Or Colin or any of these guys. You would want to know that Hideki's going to be gambling, firing at pins, so maybe you would target him in a birdies or better matchup. That is a situation. That is something you could look at. That's another layer to all of this. Now, let's incorporate this into DraftKings, because DraftKings, the idea is everybody gets $50,000 in Monopoly money. All the salary has to be used to create the best team. You get 6 golfers, okay? This is called Showdown. This is not week long. I'm talking about Showdown. So what you would want to do is pick your team. Now, how would you pick a team? Well, you know that everybody is going to want to be on the good players. Scheffler, Rory, but what do you notice when you use those 2 guys? You only have $27,000 in salary left, okay? So good luck making a team that's competitive. Now, the idea here is that everyone's going to make their lineup, and there's going to be thousands of people in this, and it's a tournament. You're trying to get to the top of the leaderboard. Every time these guys get a birdie or bogey or whatever, they accumulate fantasy points, okay? You can find all this stuff in there right here. As you can see, eagle or better, 16 points, eagle, 11 points, birdies, 5.7, bogey, free round, hole in one, etc., birdie streak, etc. You're trying to get to the top, but the layer here is you want to pick guys that nobody else is on that goes off. So while everyone's picking the top best players, you want to be thinking about guys that people aren't going to be taking, like a Hideki, who just had a terrible round. Nobody's going to be playing Hideki tomorrow. That's a fish. Maybe some sharps will. I haven't even looked into it that much to see if I would be playing Hideki tomorrow. I'm just using this as an example because he's at the bottom. He's +4. These are the type of things you need to be looking at. This is how you would build a lineup, okay? Now, that's not to say you can't just jam in Scheffler and everybody who did good yesterday, because they may very well do good again today, but you have to factor in everybody's going to be doing that. And if everybody's doing that, nobody's winning, or you're going to need to have 1 to 2 different people to win in that situation. You want to take chances and you want to take risks. DraftKings Fantasy, especially for golf, but any sport, you're playing against the other players, not the house. The house makes their set coin already. They don't care who wins. So you want to outthink everyone else. It's a chess match, okay? So I would be looking at guys like Spieth. I always play Scheffler anyways, personally. I probably won't play him tomorrow, though, because he did so good today. But like Hideki, Spieth, Schauffele, who couldn't get anything going today. He got decent later on in the round. Victor Hovland, he's always in the mix, bro. He's either like 6 birdies or 6 bogeys. He's always someone that I like to have exposure to. I'm fading Morikawa. Harman's in the mix. And the thing is that round 1 isn't finished, so I can't really know what I'm going to do yet, to be honest with you. I will make these lineups after round 1 and I can see what everything actually happened. But that is how you would want to go about DraftKings, okay? And I can get more in depth on that, but not for this video, okay? So now let's say you made your slip and everything, and now you want to sweat it. Cap, now I want to sweat it. Is this thick chalked? Is this hitting? Is this that? Is this hitting? All you have to do is go to the PGA Tour website, or you can just go to datagolf.com, the same website. You click DataGolf, it's going to be the Masters tournament, bang, and it'll have everybody in real time what hole they're on. You click their name and it'll show you what's going on, what hole they're on, okay? That is how you can know how they're doing and what hole they're on. It's a little delayed from the PGA Tour site, but it'll work, okay? And this is the big thing to use with DataGolf. They have their weather. You can get weather better on other websites, but this is the key to it all, baby. This tells you how the course is playing hole by hole. So you can see yesterday just how good everything was. So you can tell, what do you see by this? If you know anything about golf, you can see it was playing a full stroke above par, meaning that it's playing hard relative, okay? But hole 13 and hole 8 are the easiest holes on the course, followed by hole 2 and then hole 3 and then hole 15. So these are your chances to get birdie. Ironically enough, par 5, par 5, par 5. 3 out of the 5 easy holes are par 5s. I shouldn't say easy because they ain't easy, but these are the most scoreable holes. And it tells you exactly how many people have gotten eagles, birdies, pars, etc. So this is kind of how you can gauge how the course is playing. So let's just say your guys haven't started yet and you're on PrizePicks trying to see how the course is playing. You can go to DataGolf and you can take a look. You can see what the course is doing on a macro level and then at a micro level, hole by hole. You can also see how an individual guy is playing as well. So I talked about true strokes gained. I talked about the weather. I showed you how to do this. I talked about DraftKings. There's one more thing that I'm going to discuss, and that is pin locations, okay? So every night before the round, they put out these pin locations, and they don't have round 2 yet because they haven't placed them yet because, again, they're finishing round 1 in the morning. But this shows you where the pins are, and if you've ever touched golf, you can kind of get a feel and see what type of hole is going to be gettable or not. Now, this is very deceptive for this particular tournament because the greens are crazy sloped. It will tell you this if you're looking at the numbers, 35, 14 and stuff. But what I try to look for is just a basic to see where the whole layout is. If it's tucked, like, look, hole 2, even though it's a par 5, but you can kind of see the pin is right there. It's not that tucked. Same thing with hole 3. The pin's not tucked. But look at hole 4. The hole's way over here, and that shows you there's a lot of room for error. Same thing with hole 5. Same thing with hole 6. Same thing with hole 18. Hole 17 looks okay, but there's sloped greens on both sides, so you know it's going to be hard. Hole 9, super tucked, super a lot of issues there. You can see how this goes. Hole 11, it's very small. You're basically, the best case scenario would be it's right in the middle and there's a lot of green on either side to work with. Like hole 1, if it wasn't so sloped the way it is, this would be elite because it's like right there. You have a lot of places to land without getting into trouble. But again, that's a par 4. It's deceptive, but that is something you have to look at as well and something you can think about. So hole locations, actually these are called pin location. The weather, the true strokes gained, and then DataGolf has historical stats for all these golfers. It's insane, but they do. So you can go to the main page and you can see they have Tommy Fleetwood up here. You can check their player profiles. It'll tell you exactly where their strengths are. You can see they make a little graph: driving accuracy, approach, around the green, putting, and driving distance. So you can kind of get an idea of what his strengths are. So if you see someone like Fleetwood, you know that he's good at driving accuracy. Putting, he's okay, but he's weak at driving distance. He doesn't really drive it that far, but he's good at around the green. So let's use this as an example, okay? And it's cycling through the players here. But remember, we saw Fleetwood was good around the green, right? But not at driving accuracy. So let's go back to the true strokes gain. I know this is a long video, but I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to conduct a master class for the noobs in the court and the YouTube faithful and everything else. We got to go back to true strokes gain, tournament stats, the Masters. Let's go find Fleetwood. Okay, so there he is. And what is around the green? He didn't even gain a full stroke, and that's his strongest part of his game, okay, according to what we just looked at. The weakest part of his game is off the tee, and he gained a fraction of a stroke there. He was really good on approach, but his around the green, which is his strong suit, he didn't do that well. So he probably should do better tomorrow. Granted, he's not done with round 1 yet, but these are things that you want to look at. Now, he doesn't have enough data because he's only through 10 holes, but that is something that you would want to factor in. Okay, here we go with the GOAT, Scottie Scheffler, and as you can see, he's good at everything. He has no weakness. His approach is spot on. The weakest thing he is putting. Around the green, crisp. Approach, crispy. Look at this. Driving distance is elite. Driving accuracy is elite. The putting is the only thing he suffers, and even then, he's still not terrible. He's just, it's weak compared to everything else because he's so good at everything else. So if you saw Scottie Scheffler lacking in around the green or approach, you know that that's his strong suit, and you know that that's most likely going to turn around. But you can see here, his approach was literally perfect, +2 strokes around the green too, and his putting, he's playing to his strengths. So you know that Scottie's locked in. He's dialed in. And for that reason, I'm never going to tell you to not target Scottie Scheffler. If you want to take Scottie Scheffler, you can. So if you wanted to go like that, you could. Personally, I would probably just take Scottie Scheffler's birds because he does have push equity. Maybe even his greens in regulation at 12.5. That's probably what I would take for Scheffler. That way, remember, that makes you immune. He doesn't have to get a birdie. He just has to have a green in regulation, meaning he just has to putt for birdie. So a guy like Scottie, who doesn't putt that well, can benefit by this. Look, his is higher than everyone else's for a reason. So if you wanted to take the narrative that he's not going to go tomorrow and have another good round, he's going to choke because golf is a huge mental game, you could take less. Personally, I'm just showing you guys this as an example. I haven't made any picks yet for DraftKings or for this. This video is simply to instruct mainly the people in my Discord who don't know about golf, or anyone else who doesn't understand golf or PrizePicks or DraftKings and they want to get into it. There's not enough of these videos explaining exactly what does what. So I am out here trying to do the Lord's work at 4 a.m. my time, still up the full day before where I was up doing my normal NBA stuff. And tomorrow I will have my normal NBA video just like normal on Flex Friday. But I wanted to get this out for you guys because I promise you, if you start getting in the mix with golf, you will like it, especially if you're playing it. It is one of the best sweats. Another birdies or better that I would like would be Max Homa. I watched him. He's just playing so freaking good. Whenever you just look at Max Homa, he's literally just golf. Every time I see his mug, I just think he looks like golf, bro. He's just an elite golfer. Good for him. He's playing his heart out today. I watched him. He was crushing it. He was playing with Tiger Woods. I can't imagine what it's like for him. But I honestly think that that would be a decent matchup between him and Burns. I would like that. Again, these are just examples. If you want to throw in $5 just to get a sweat and just to get your feet wet and give it a shot, you can. I hope you use the principles that I taught in this video to go and make your own slips, whatever they may be. I'm giving you the tools. It's up to you to use them. Now, if you want to learn things like this in other sports and get my projection sheets, you can go to CaptainCrush.net. I have a Discord here. You get in the gold package, bang. That will get you in, and that'll give you access to all my plays. I cover all the sports. I do daily live streams, etc. It's a good community we got going on there, and I told them I would do this video for them, so this is specifically for them and anyone else who needed to learn golf. I appreciate you sticking around. Hopefully you learned something. I know it's a boring video. Trust me, I know the analytics and text and all this stuff, it's boring. I didn't show my mug. I don't have a lot of emotion in the video because I'm exhausted. I'll be point blank honest with you. Maybe check out my other videos if you're new to the channel. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, get on the golf course and hit you a birdie or two. But I will see you for tomorrow's NBA video on Flex Friday, where we will cook up a masterclass like always. Here's the salute. Good luck in all your contests. And as always, my brothers and sisters in Christ, let's crush.